Air France Flight 358 was a regular flight from Paris, France to Toronto, Canada. There were 257 passengers and 12 crew members on board. The flight was commanded by 57-year-old Captain Alan R., who had 15,000 hours of flying experience. Post Officer Frederick was accompanying the captain as co-pilot. The flight took off from Paris. Everything was going well in the flight. The passengers were enjoying the beauty of the flight, and gradually the flight started preparing to land at Toronto Airport. But suddenly the weather conditions at Toronto Airport deteriorated. Strong winds, rain and storms suddenly swept the entire area. The weather suddenly became so bad that the airport authority issued a red warning at the airport, due to which all the ground staffs would not give any success to the plane. In order to prevent any risk to human life from lightning strikes caused by the adverse weather conditions, nearly 540 flights scheduled to arrive and depart from Toronto Airport have been cancelled. After being redirected to other airports, all flights were sent away, but Flight 358 still managed to land at Toronto Airport. It waits for permission from the airport ATC tower for landing, after which, under normal circumstances, the flight's pilot receives a message from ATC. The message provides the pilot with details about the airport's weather conditions, wind direction, and speed. Usually, this information is utilized by the pilot to manage the plane's landing. They adopt normal landing speed and flight position. They are present. We adopt this so that the plane can land safely, but the weather at Toronto Airport was very bad because of this ATC message. Flight 358 is asked to wait a little longer in a Holden Payton. The plane is still on the runway at ATC control gives permission for Flight 358 to land on runway 24L. From here, Fast Officer Frederick takes control of the flight. I take it and very carefully bring such a plane to the airport runway. In the midst of heavy rain, storms and strong winds, the plane digs the runway. As the plane approaches, everyone in the plane starts praying for the plane to land. In the meantime, the plane somehow reaches the runway. The fast officer prepares for landing. To do this, set the flap position and lower the landing gear. At Sato. The plane is now just a short distance from the runway, and only then can the plane be fully. Fast officers turn off auto landing and auto throttle modes to regain manual control. Now, having reached the very front of the runway, the pilot asks permission from ATC for the last time. The ATC controller gives the pilot clearance to land on runway 24, but at the same time, he also gives the pilot a warning. The pilot of the second flight said that the wind on the runway was very strong, making it very difficult to stop the plane on the runway after a hard landing, so he was quiet. As caution increases, the fast officer tries to land the plane with all his might, but the strong wind coming from the front causes the plane's tires to buckle. Still unable to touch the runway, seeing the runway coming to an end, the captain asks the fast officer to land the plane quickly, and by now more than half of the runway has been touched. It was over. The captain shouted again to land the plane, and finally the plane's tires touched down on the wet runway, waving in the wind amidst a strong gust of wind. The plane landed on the runway but 100 speed of 160 km/h. I was running in such bad weather and the tension of landing so far ahead on the runway. The pilot was unable to apply the emergency brake on the correct team. As soon as he saw the plane speeding, it crossed the runway boundary. In order to prevent any risk to human life from lightning strikes caused by the adverse weather conditions, nearly 540 flights scheduled to arrive and depart from Toronto Airport have been cancelled. After being redirected to other airports, all flights were sent away, but Flight 358 still managed to land at Toronto Airport. It waits for permission from the airport ATC tower for landing, after which, under normal circumstances, the flight's pilot receives a message from ATC. The message provides the pilot with details about the airport's weather conditions, wind direction, and speed. Usually, this information is utilized by the pilot to manage the plane's landing. They adopt normal landing speed and flight position. They are present. Came to a stop, which he was shocked to see. People were rushed to the hospital, and the lives of the injured were saved by receiving timely treatment. The flight data recorder and cockpit were found immediately after the accident. The voice recorder was initially confiscated and sent to France for examination. The reason behind this accident was identified as the plane landing 1,200 meters beyond the runway's landing point. Whatever the cause, this incident is notable in aviation history. It was no miracle. In spite of the dangerous accident and the fire in the aircraft, 257 passengers and 12 crew members were successfully rescued alive.